talk on smart digital solutions driving IoT applications at the edge. For that, I would like to welcome Shri Vinay Solanki, AVP and Business Head, Napino Digital Solutions, onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Shri Vinay Solanki. He is the AVP and Business Head, Napino Digital Solutions, founder of world's third largest IoT community, IoT NCR, recognized as global top 20 thought leader in IoT and analytics by Thinker 360 and as top 20 IIoT thought leader by CBT USA. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Shri Vinay Solanki, and he'll take us through smart digital solutions driving IoT applications at the edge.
First of all, I would like to thank Kerala Startup Mission for giving this opportunity to come here and talk about little what I know about IoT. This is the first time I'm hearing Shri in front of my words, so thank you once again. I think before I talk what I want to talk today about, I just thought that let's start with some terminologies that are on the board. And before that, of course, a little bit background about myself as I was introduced. In one line, I live, breathe, and I eat IoT. So I really love this technology, IoT, and I keep traveling for it all over the world to meet and greet people and understand what is happening in the IoT world. But nostalgically, my career started right here, next door, TCS, in 2002 when I graduated. And I came here for training for 3 months in the campus right next door to us. So it is really great to be here, back here in Kerala and back here in Techno Park once again. So I think before we start, there are some terms on the board. I just want anyone to say what you think about the word transformation. When you hear transformation, you can just turn on your mic or speak up loudly, both is okay. Any word that comes to your mind when you think of the word transformation? Progress. Okay, so transformation is like you're trying to transform something to make it better, progressive in nature, right? Second is digital. What is digital? The word digital, right? We hear it every day today. Nowadays, like digital transformation is the word which is like, I think it's overabused, it's overtaken everywhere. People say I'm digitally transforming, but what do you think about the word digital alone? Anyone? The engineers in the room, when they studied computer science, ones and zeros, right? Yeah, so that's binary, right? So digital, if you go to the very core basic, it is ones and zeros. You're transforming information in some format, right? Ones and zeros. M2M. So IoT is something that we're hearing, right, since many years now as a buzzword. But there is a word that kind of predates IoT, which has been there for some time, M2M, machine to machine, right? So I think we heard today in the opening session as well that human to machine interaction or human to interaction with any other device, right, is very important, and it's actually game changing. But if you look at machine to machine interaction, which kind of started even before, like on the shop floors, it is actually one of the precursor to what is happening today with Internet on Things or Internet of Things, right? Both. And I love the word that was coined today, India on top. I'm really glad to hear that word today. So I think last word, Industry 4.0. Anyone? Okay. So any idea about what was 3.0 or 2.0? Okay. Has someone heard Industry 5.0 recently? Any idea, like what is the difference between 4.0 and 5.0? Or what is 5.0 actually doing better than 4.0? Sorry? Right, digital twins, right? And then metaverse is something that we are hearing today as well. So I think the reason I thought that we should go through this word is because my presentation, I'm trying to basically present a view of the topic that was shared, right? Smart solutions or digital solutions, right? And when we talk about IoT, IoT is happening both over the cloud. It is also happening at the edge, right, where the intelligence and the processing power is moving closer to the devices, right? So that's what we are going to cover today. But I thought, like, if I just want to simplify the definition for Internet of Things, right, IoT, it is as simple as this mug, right, which is emitting a steam from it. So if you look at the mug, right, it is emitting steam, and as human eye, we are capturing that information, which is carried through our nervous system to our brain. That is simply telling you that don't touch the mug, it is hot, right? So there are three components involved here, like very simply. Sensors, which are our eyes, right? They are sensing sensory organs. Our nervous system as the information flow carrier between the sensor and our brain, and then the compute power. So IoT is also very simple, right? And that's why it is very powerful. It is simple and powerful at the same time, right? Because what it is telling you that anything that can be sensed through an environment, right, can be captured, can be processed, and then analyzed for basically making certain things smarter, right? As simple as that. So I think in the opening session, Shri Anup Ambika mentioned about this, that you can think about IoT applications all around you, anywhere you go today, right? And why it is so powerful? Because what it is doing is it is making the machines, or making the things which were not able to talk before, talk now, and communicate back to you and tell you what is going wrong with them or right with them, possibly, right? So if I talk about edge in IoT solutions, right? So if you look at this diagram, it is basically breaking down the whole IoT solution into three buckets, right? The IoT devices, which are more like the end nodes. It could be a camera, it could be a car, it could be a robot, it could be anything that is capturing the information. The middle layer is more like the gateway, right? That is capturing that data, and it is able to transport the data over the internet to some remote server. Now, in our context of edge, the edge could be that device. So a car could be an edge device, which is processing information in the car when you are driving a smart car, right? Or that gateway could act as an edge. If the device is not smarter enough, it is just a sensor, then the gateway in between can act like a smart device, right? Or an edge processing engine. So when I talk about IoT, and when we understand this concept, it is also important for all of us to understand in IoT, before we talk about edge solutions, what are the different kind of players here, right? And I think that is very important for startups in India as a market to evolve, to become a leader in building solutions, selling solutions in IoT. So if you look at this, the first category of people who typically play a role, or not the first, but one of the people, are the people who are in the hardware segment, right? The device designers, the device makers, the hardware resellers, and the programmers who are working actually on the sensors, the chips, and other kind of things. Then comes the network service provider, right? We heard from Jio today, right, about 5G. Now, without an internet, which can be on 2G, 3G, 4G, or 5G, or on Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, or for a short-range connectivity, you can't actually carry the information. So network service provider plays a very crucial role there. And then comes the last categories of players who basically are broken down into four buckets in this ecosystem. There will be people who are more in the software solution provider, right? People who are providing you the application or the platform. Then there are system integrators. I think we heard this word today again. System integrators are the one who basically integrate and build the entire solution and make it ready, deployable, and manage it on the field. Like a smart street light in a smart city deployment would typically be managed by a system integrator. But he is not the one who is building the solution behind the scene. There could be a software company plus a hardware company together making a smart street light work for you. And I think we just heard from the speaker that IoT and AI go hand in hand, right? The speaker before this session. So if you don't know how to analyze information, it's actually useless. It's garbage in, garbage out. So the third important role is data scientists and domain experts, right? Who understand that domain well, whether it is medical, industrial, or home, or retail, or anything like that. And then go-to-market partners, typically the people who will take this technology from a startup in KSUM and actually sell it to someone in the market, right? So all these four people are very, very crucial to make it happen. So if you look at from the ecosystem from bottom to top, right, these players come together to make it possible for you. But we as end consumers or customers use that technology for our own benefit, right? But in addition to that, I think the supporting ecosystem is even more crucial in the digital ecosystem player. For example, KSIN or CDAC or NASCOM or MITI, right? They are the industries body run by the government authorized channels to basically help the country, right, or innovators and startups and students to basically come forward and make their idea happen. So the three categories here are governments and regulators, who typically will be regulating what is supposed to happen, right? Like data privacy, data security, or ethics committee in medical area. Innovation hubs, right? Like KSM, or even communities like the one that I run, IoT NCR, which is like a community of 8,000 members, and where people come together every month to collaborate and build some innovation. And standards and research bodies. These are even more important, because if you can't define something in a very standard way, and it will not be basically scalable at a particular mass, because if something has to scale, it has to be done in a very standard way, right? So that if I'm using a mobile app, it has to work the same way on all the phones, right? A particular mobile application. So there are some standards given by the likes of Android or iOS, right, to make that happen on the application side. So moving forward, I thought I will touch some numbers also when we talk about IoT and edge solutions. Again, you have to take it with a bag of salt, not with a pinch of salt, but with a bag of salt, because whenever the numbers are out there, I think there are a lot of promising numbers around IoT. But this one I really liked by McKinsey, when they mentioned that IoT will become a $500 billion market globally by 2025. And they in fact gave the key growth drivers on the right hand side. If you see, while we believe on the growth, why the growth is happening, why it is going to become so applicable to all of us, I think there are four important growth drivers. One is the cost of the sensor. It has actually come down drastically. The sensors are now in dollars. Very soon they will be in cents, or in, I would say, in maybe tens of rupees. The data storage costs also have come down drastically in the last 2 decades. Third is the availability of device, right? And the applications that device can support is actually increasing very fast. And like at Napino also, we design devices and we manufacture the same devices for our customers. What we are seeing is that the IoT devices are earlier were limited to some specialized application. There are some generic versions which are coming that can work on multiple applications as well. And the last is connectivity, right? I think we already know about launch of 5G in India. The applicability of many solutions like computer vision, where a camera is monitoring a vandalism in an area, right? And if it is supposed to process that information either on the edge, okay, then it need to be very powerful camera. But if it is very powerful, it will be very costly. Another option is I'm able to capture the image or the video, and I'm able to transfer it in a very, very high speed to a remote server, process it and take the action. If the action is I have to sound an alarm and call the PCR van for a vandalism, then something like 5G will make it really actually applicable or much better compared to what the speed we get with 4G today, right? So I think these four growth drivers is actually already telling us, and most of you, if you are part of the startup community, that this is the right time to build applications that can solve the real challenges using IoT, right? So while we talk about many IoT use cases, I think this was a very good survey done by IoT Analytics, and they keep doing this survey every year. Basically, the survey goes and talks to many industries, academia, research bodies, and startups, including the large customers, to understand what kind of use cases are actually picking up in IoT. Like we are hearing this for, I'm actually hearing the word IoT since 2001 when I was in US. And that time I was hearing this application of a company called Ring, which was later acquired by Amazon for smart doorbell. And since then till today, I think if I have seen, I think there are many applications that have picked up scale, and there are many which are still not there yet. But if you look at this list, remote asset monitoring is one of the fastest growing segment across the world. I think a realization that happened across the world, including India, where many factories, where many warehouses, many ports, they adopted technology where they can monitor their assets remotely. So that's why it's number one. And then there are many other that you can see in the list, right? If you look at the category in the type column, many of them are, 6 of them are in the category of smart operations. And I think that is where the real use of technology where you can do something remotely and run your operations in a smarter and better way comes in handy. And many of these operations are now moving towards the edge side as well. And it will be clear when I talk about a case study shortly. So I think before moving on to the case study, what we have basically went through right now is a quick summary of what is IoT, what is the market looking like, right, and why it is so powerful. But what are the real applications happening in the industries, especially when we talk about edge solutions, okay? So please, if you go back to that diagram where I said that either a device can be an edge or a gateway can be an edge, right? And when we talk about any edge, right, edge could be a small device which has a processing microcontroller or microprocessor inside it, and it is able to process the information, it is able to store the information, and it is able to take some action, possibly. Not all IoT application needs actuation, but many of them need it. Actually, we met a startup yesterday in KSM that is part of a college here, which can actuate your brake and the clutch in the car when the driver is drowsy while driving on a long distance. Typically for the fleet companies, right? Like the truck drivers, which are on a long haul route most of the time, and not just in India but across the globe, they drive non-stop. And if they drive non-stop because they have to meet certain timelines or make more money, they are going to be drowsy. And this application was very innovative application which can be fitted in the car aftermarket, which of course after monitoring if the driver is drowsy through a camera and computer vision algorithm, it can actually actuate certain thing in the car. It can blink the light, like the hazardous light on the car, so that the cars nearby or the vehicles nearby can know that something is going wrong. And it can go a step further and probably start cutting off the fuel and slowing down the car, or applying the brake gradually with the clutch in play along with it. So if you look at what it is doing, it is capturing the information from the vehicle through the CAN bus and is processing everything inside the car. There is no internet needed there. So that's a completely 100% edge solution, a smart edge solution, okay? But let's look at a case study here to understand it better. So this is a case study from our own facility, which is basically in the quality assurance area, where in electronics manufacturing, when you manufacture a PCB, it has to go through a lot of circuit testing. It's called as integrated circuit testing, which can be done manually. It can be done partially automated with human being and fixtures combined, or it can be completely automated. Okay. But before I talk about that, I will just take 2-3 minutes to talk about Napino. So Napino, briefly about us, we are a group of companies under the Napino brand, started with a joint venture with a Japanese company Shinnigan 25 years back, and we basically started into automotive electronic components manufacturing, and then from there we actually started diversifying. Today we are in automotive, consumer electronics, lighting, and IoT. Okay, so we are around 5,000 employee company with 9 facilities across the country. There are new one coming up. We recently launched one in Bangalore. There is another one coming up in the south part of India. But in addition to manufacturing, we also have a very strong R&D where we design a lot of IoT hardwares, including other electronic products for our customers, with around 175 plus R&D engineers based in Gurgaon and Pune. So if you look at what we do in Napino Digital Solutions, which is a business that I run under the Napino Group, we are basically working mostly with IoT and digital customers. Like we are working with drone companies, we are working with smart headband companies, we are working with agri-tech company for either helping them on design or manufacturing. So we are basically based in Gurgaon as of now. So these are the 3 offerings that we typically have for the market very quickly. I think the first offering is the full stack ODM service, which is if you have an idea and you want a device to be designed and then manufactured, including the supply chain support, we can do that. So we can do the whole stack of prototyping, then testing, validation, certification, mass scale production, including supply chain. But beyond that, because a lot of our customer needs some ready solution capability from us, we also work on building capability in various segments, starting from telematics devices, Bluetooth tags, STEM, which stands for Smart Transport and Environment Monitoring Solution. Then we have worked already in various segments like transportation, Industry 4.0, electric vehicles, and telecom infra equipments as well as of now. Lastly, because the customers who come with IoT requirement, many a time they want application to be developed like cloud integration, mobile app, and so on. So we also have a team that basically supports on that part of the life cycle for the customer. Very quickly, I think these are some of the products that I'm showing here that we have manufactured. This is not a comprehensive list, but we have done everything from an ADAS camera for driver monitoring solution to a smart asset tracking solution or a smart watch, as well as a smart speaker by Hero, which is a Cubo product that is sell on Amazon today, a Wi-Fi doorbell, surveillance camera, and so on. We work with many industry partners as well. We recently signed the agreement with KSM as well for supporting the startups. That's a picture of our facility, one of the facility in Manesar, which is a manufacturing facility. Now, why I'm showing this slide, it is important to understand that if you see the line here, SMT stands for Surface Mounting Technology. Basically, you pass a PCB through it, and then on the PCB, which is electronic circuits, you mount various components, right? Now, after you mount the component, there is an important step to test whether the current is properly flowing through all the components for the product to actually work better, right? Now, if you see at the bottom, the person is actually doing some testing on a smart speaker by hand right now. He's basically trying to do some tests there. Now, to do those tests, he uses various test equipments, right, which are on this slides that you see. It could be a jig fixture, if you see on the top left side, the white color one. This basically can be used for calibration, for validation, for testing purpose, right? So it is a job of a human being along with this fixture, which is programmed to do some testing. Or you can also do camera calibration in dark room and so on. But what we realized that for a mass scale line, because we manufacture almost 25 million products units a year for our different customers. So we realized that one of the things that we can do is automate a part of this through some application or an IoT solution or probably a robotic solution. And that's where we went and we actually started looking at this solution, which is a cobot. Okay,